Hello, and welcome to our next NAPS. NAP stands for Nonprofit Auditor Points, and I'm your nonprofit auditor. My name is Irina Urishkova, and I'm nonprofit auditor. I have a small CPA practice in downtown Auckland, and we serve nonprofit organizations. We provide assurance, audit review, and tax filing services for nonprofits. I've been doing this work for a long time, and I decided to create the NAPs to help nonprofit communities, board members, executive directors, finance directors, and users of financial statements, volunteers of nonprofit organizations to better understand accounting, legal, and financial aspects of running a nonprofit organization. And today I do want to talk about the board of directors, which is, in my opinion, the most important body of any nonprofit organizations, and it can affect any nonprofit organization in very transparent way, good way or not very good way. Therefore, because I see a lot of misunderstanding, a lot of education in that area, I want to help volunteers, executive directors, and other members of board of the nonprofit to understand what is board of directors. In the following NEPs, I will be talking about responsibilities, duties of board members. But in this video, I want to start with understanding what is a board of directors. But before we start, I want to remind this is not authoritative video. I'm just an auditor in California sharing my experience. I'm not representing any institution, private or public. I'm just one person sharing my opinion. If you have any specific questions, please do contact your own CPA, your own auditor, or your own legal counsel. Okay, let's talk. Board of directors. What is board of directors? First of all, board of directors is a governing body, and it's responsible for overseeing overall operation, strategies, and compliance of the nonprofit. The board of directors typically consists of volunteers who are passionate about the mission of nonprofit organization, and these volunteers donate their time to make sure that this nonprofit will succeed. As you can see, just in that definition, there is a lot of very core important words. First of all, governing body overseeing all operations of nonprofit organizations, but it's also responsible for compliance and legal matters of the nonprofit. Board of directors activity should be very distinct from day-to-day operations, because day-to-day operations are delegated to the employees who are led by executive directors. They are an operation force of nonprofit. They do day-to-day work, but they are governed by nonprofit. And nonprofit they govern by board of directors, and board of directors governs employees and executive director by creating the vision, strategies, and creating policy and procedures that executive director and its team implements the vision, strategies, and policy and procedures. Board of directors are structured with multiple members instead of one person for many reasons, and particularly because the board of directors, the importance of that body is so great that one person might not satisfy the responsibilities and duties that are put on the board. Therefore, when the board consists of multiple persons, it promotes diversity in decision making in different viewpoint and spreads accountability. And each board members consists of many people. Typically, we see that the board consists of 5 and more people. Each person have their own expertise. A lot of bylaws require board have expertise in finance, in strategies, in marketing, in fundraising. So in all those areas represented by various people. Also, when the board has multiple individuals, they can represent different community perspectives. Nonprofits can serve specific community that has different interests. So when the board has multiple members, it's more likely that more interest will be represented. Also, board members require to have multiple members in order to avoid biases. We're all humans, we have our experiences, we have our own belief system, our own ideas. So when we have a board that has various people from various communities, when the board make any decisions, it's most likely that this decision will be more objective and the bias will be avoided. Also, because board making such as important decisions for the overall mission and strategy of the nonprofit, when there is 1 or 2 people making that decision, it's very risky. So when there are multiple people are involved, like governing body, 5 and more people, we do spread the risk. We're checking ourselves. If I'm thinking this way, I think that's going to be for the best of the nonprofit. And if other 4 members of the board believe it's a great decision for the nonprofit, then we're reducing the risk by making a poor decision. So it also, board has a lot of responsibilities. The board needs to set up policy procedures, get involved in very critical decision making for the organization, develop strategies, do fundraising, look at overall health of the organization, and so forth. There's a lot of tasks that board needs to perform. Therefore, it would be very difficult to do if 1 person would be representing a board or 2 people. Good number of people on a board ensures that the board members do not get overburdened and they do act in their expertise and they do work that they can afford because they are volunteers and they can only volunteer their free time that they have. Also, when board making decision as a collectively, as a governing body, there is a collective wisdom involved. What does it mean? It means that each board member should come to the meetings and to every decision making in the group deliberations. So that foster critical thinking, discussion of different viewpoints, explaining challenges, refine the ideas, and as a result, the best decision for nonprofit will be made. And also it helps to mitigate the risk. So if the bylaw of nonprofit saying that for specific risky decisions, at least 80% of board members have to vote for the decision, it's mitigating the risk, reducing the risk of likelihood of impulsive actions. Each board member has a duty, as we will be discussing in future videos, to know the legal frame in which nonprofit operates, to understand the organization mission, its purpose, its ideas, and act in the best interests of the nonprofit organization. Very critically to remember that board it's accountable personally and collectively for the actions of the nonprofit. So group as a board, as a group, provide internal accountability as a board members to fulfill its duties. And each board member have to remember that they act on the best interest of the nonprofit. They cannot act against the interests of the nonprofit, but perceiving their personal interest or ideas. When they become a board member, their only goal is to serve and act on the best interest of the nonprofit. Each board member should understand the guidance of the realms of the nonprofit that they operate and needs to be transparent in their ideas and decision making. Each board member also have to be responsible that they considering succession and continuity of the wisdom of the board. As we know, a lot of boards have a limitation of the terms how long each board member can serve. Therefore, each board member have to understand their expertise in the field and know when their term is about to expire, they need to offer and bring another board member with a similar expertise and share their expertise and so their knowledge will continue to operate. An overall board serves like institutional memory. Each board meeting get documented in the minutes of the board of directors. Each board meeting, each board members get educated in the operations of the organization, and they build this knowledge, their wisdom that they need to share and make sure that this knowledge will continue to operate in order to preserve that oversight and accountability that should exist. And finally, for nonprofits to be governed by the board of directors, it's a legal requirement. In most jurisdictions, nonprofits are legally required to have a minimum number of board members, and in some jurisdictions, the specific nonprofits are required to develop specific committees inside the board with specific knowledge, skills, and experience, either in finance or other areas, and they have to fulfill those legal requirements. To conclude, having a board of directors are required by many legal entities and by overall idea of the nonprofit organizations. Good, healthy board can either encourage the success of nonprofit or can really hurt nonprofit. It is highly recommended for the board of directors to be diverse in their professional capacities, in their representation of the communities, and share accountability and have a productive discussions in which they will find the best possible solution and decision to ensuring the success of nonprofit. Collective structure promotes better decision making, reduces risk, and builds the trusts, ensuring the nonprofit is well managed and able to fulfill its mission. To summarize, finally, to be board member, it's a great privilege, but it's also a lot of duties and responsibility. And I would advise every board member, before you become a board member, make sure that you understand your duties, your responsibility. if you're already a board member, make sure that you do some research, educate yourself, communicate with the executive director, with seasoned board members to ensure that you understand the extent of your great privilege to serve as a board member, but also understand what the duties and responsibility you have, and make sure that you're able and willing to fulfill those duties and responsibilities. Thank you so much for being here with me, and I'm looking forward to see you for the next snap where we discuss why do board of directors exists and what the duty of each board member. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Talk to you soon.